BO7 just dropped, and along with it came tons of new content. Some good, some bad, and some ugly. Today, we're covering everything and deciding if it's really worth it for you to buy. Now, yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, during my Avalon video, I actually dropped somewhat of a review of my first day experience of the Black Ops 7 game. But today I wanted to do an overview of everything. I wanted to kind of take a look at some of the things I've noticed in the last 24 hours after playing for quite a bit of time. Now you may notice right here we are in the Avalon map, and we're going to discuss that quite a bit as we go along because, you know, we did hop in and we played the in-game mode for a minute yesterday to check out all the new POIs, but fun fact, you can just check out everything in theater mode, which is, again, another thing that we're going to talk about. So the first thing I kind of want to get into here is an overview of whether or not they kept their promises on a couple of things. And the first thing is going to be skill-based matchmaking. This is kind of a divisive topic. I think a lot of people have their opinions on it. A lot of people feel a specific way. And personally, I feel like skill-based matchmaking has been the bane of Call of Duty for years. I think it's been an absolutely negative thing, and the implementation that they added into the titles after 2019 really left a bad taste in the mouth of a lot of people. Now, the difference between the matchmaking system in 2019 with Modern Warfare, Modern Warfare 2019, and the games before that is that the games before that did not put a massive amount of focus on skill. Like, don't get me wrong, skill was still in there. And in fact, if you go back on my channel, you can see me talking about the matchmaking system and how I thought that skill-based matchmaking was bad. I still do think that skill-based matchmaking is a bad thing. But whenever I hopped in and I started playing today, I noticed that, you know, I'm not on the New Zealand glitch or whatever you want to call it, which is from Activision's mouth completely fine to do, by the way, just so everybody knows. This is, no one's in trouble, including anyone like that plays regularly, not just content creators. Like, you can do whatever you want. They're not going to be mad at you for changing your location in your Activision account. It truly does not matter. But, you know, it's second day here, and while it may be first day for some people, it's not for me. But I figured once it was actual release day, we'd see a difference in the lobbies. But in reality, I'm really not. And maybe that's the playlist that I'm choosing, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But it's still, like, there's definitely a difference between the engagement-based system that they had and the system that we're running into now. But I do feel like skill is still a very high focus. You know, like when I hop in and I'm playing multiplayer, I'm still running into players that are ridiculously good. Like, it's not like a small thing, and it's not even, I don't really know how to explain it, but it's not super focused on just connection, which really was the goal at the end of the day, is that I wanted to see the game focused purely on connection. And it feels like, you know, I'm playing when Advanced Warfare had launched on PS4, but a lot of players were still on PS5. If you played the PS4 version, it was still a lot of people that were going crazy. And maybe, you know, as time goes on, it's going to change. But I feel like I'm getting into lobbies with players that are really good. And I have to imagine on day one, like, a lot of people are still going to be playing it. So again, my first decision on this, on whether or not they're keeping their promises, they did add in a playlist called Standard, which is a mosh pit playlist, which I really hate that they did that because they called it Standard while the default is open. Normally, when we're talking default, we call default Standard. So it seems like they're actively going out of their way to try to confuse people, right? I think that's just really not a good thing. I think it's all going to lead to them trying to rug pull us at some point and saying, well, people just liked it better this way, or it helped us improve the retention that players had, and the yada yada yada. It's all bullshit at the end of the day. So just diving in and kind of looking at how my lobbies have been, I'm not saying I'm not doing well, because I absolutely am. I'm doing above a 1KD. I'm doing above a 2KD in a lot of games. Sometimes I'll break a 3. Sometimes I'll go on a good streak, like stuff like that. Like, I'm having a good time, and it's still better than it was before, but it still feels a little different. And the reason I say this is because maybe it's just the player base. Maybe everyone's a sweat, but I don't have a low enough skill account to test these things. And maybe I should look into that. Maybe I should try getting on like a viewer's account. So if one of you guys are interested in letting me try your account, if you have it linked to like Battle.net, let me know. I love to maybe give it a shot. So, you know, maybe that's the case. Maybe I need to try it, but off rip, it feels like what they said about how the matchmaking system will work, I'm not sure how much I trust it just yet. So not off to a good start in that regard. It is what it is though. But moving forward, the next thing I kind of want to talk about is the way that the matchmaking actually works here. And just disregard me just flying in. I'm kind of just like shooting bodies right here and stuff like that. Because we are in what is the Avalon map. But I kind of want to talk about matchmaking because it's a little busted right now. So what I've been trying to play, and this kind of goes into the skill-based matchmaking talk and why I think it's a little bullshit. I've been trying to play hardcore domination. That's been my goal. And what ends up happening is that when I select hardcore domination, I will hop in, and I have ran into, after hopping out of these lobbies, you know, lobbies do persist unless the matchmaking system messes up, which I'll get to in a second. But I keep running into these same exact players. I don't know what the deal is, but it feels like if we were not doing skill-based matchmaking, there would be a larger player pool on day one. I don't know if it makes sense that I'm running into the same players on repeat. And maybe there's actually just 10 people that play this playlist. Maybe I'm crazy. But I can back out and hop into the next game, and I will literally find the same players, which is crazy. Now, another glitch that keeps happening is that I'll finish a game, and I've purposefully chosen to do like hardcore domination, which has been my preferred mode, just because I just prefer hardcore in my personal opinion. I think it's better. So it's been my preferred mode, and after I complete the game, what'll end up happening is that it'll literally throw me into a completely different mode, and it'll completely uncheck the singular mode that I chose. So if I'm trying to play hardcore domination, it'll then throw me into hardcore TDM, hardcore free-for-all, hardcore whatever. I don't understand it. I truly, truly don't. So that's been a little bit weird. So on the topic of persistent lobbies, while sometimes it works, like half of the time it doesn't. I don't know what that's about, but it literally keeps putting me into random modes, and it's actually pretty annoying. Now, the thing that I think a lot of people are also going to be divided on is going to be the movement, because look at this. Like, first of all, like I can pop shot. What just happened? Okay, all right. Look, hey, goes to prove a point. So you can kind of like pull your parachute, not your parachute, your wingsuit, and you can fly, and then you can let go of the chute, and you can shoot midair. I think it adds a whole new element to the game, and I think it's gonna be fine. But I think a lot of people are not gonna enjoy it for the first little bit. If you don't know, COD players, you know, they're creatures of habit. We've went years and years of like upgrading stuff, and repeatedly what's end up happening is that eventually Call of Duty goes back to the roots. They're like, all right, let's try something new. Too far. We pushed too far. Let's go back to our roots. We pushed too far, and it happens over and over and over. So with stuff like this is great. This does feel like Call of Duty. Go back to like the campaigns of past Call of Duties. You know, we had these wingsuits. It's always been a part of like the Black Ops series. But one thing that really hasn't has been these jumps. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, I hate that. I hate movement. Oh, we're gonna give movement? That's gross, dude. That's the worst. When in reality, you're not gonna use it. And let me tell you why you're not gonna use it. These things are actually super detrimental to your aiming. So when you try and do these nice little jumps and stuff, what ends up happening, by the way, it's so blurry down there. I don't know, like, look how glitchy it is. But when you try and do these jumps, what ends up happening is that your bullets just won't connect, or it'll be harder to ADS. Like, it'll take longer to ADS in the sky or in the air or whatever. So when you go to do that, it's actually bad. Like, it is not something that helps you. You can't like outmaneuver an enemy because the person standing still pretty much always has the advantage. And another reason why is because they've nerfed aim assist. Now, the first game that I hopped on and I played where they nerfed aim assist, I was like, wait a minute, what the heck? Because I didn't realize that was a thing that they actually did. I thought that they were going to talk about it and then not do it. So for what it's worth, they kept their promise. And a lot of people that play casually are probably going to struggle with this because of it. But if you've played Battlefield 6, then they did the exact same thing. It feels the same as Battlefield 6. So if you have an issue with this aim assist and not Battlefield 6 aim assist, then honestly, you're kind of a dork because it is truly the same. But if you're not used to it, if you're someone that plays Warzone, the aim assist has not changed just yet on Warzone, and you're not going to see it change probably until like Avalon, if it changes at all. I would say it's going to be a bit of a struggle, especially if you don't have good aim. I highly recommend you look into getting something like a pro controller so that, you know, if you need to get out of a situation, you can kind of slide around and stuff like that after you shoot somebody. Like, watch how I play, you know? I see a guy right there. As soon as I shoot him, I slide. We're going to hit his stem, and I'm moving, right? And the way that I do that... Oh, sorry. The way that I do that is that I have this pro controller, which I'll show you momentarily. And you can get yours over on Expel.gg. This is it right here. It's the Black Ops 7 Max version, the BO7 Max version. And it's pretty incredible. It's got 4 paddles on the back. It's got active triggers, so you can go from this to like the... okay, well, I can't change it mid-game. Clickies, you know? It's got stuff like that. What is happening? That is so weird. So you can free look. Oh, that's cool. That's crazy, actually. I didn't know that was a thing. Actually, if you free look, I think you go farther. That was very interesting. Sorry, I'm learning still. You know, I'm still learning to this day. But either way, you know, I've got this controller, and you can get yours over on Expel.gg. If you're interested, make sure to use code Expel at checkout, stuff like that. But a lot of players aren't going to be using that. You know, they're not going to be jumping and sliding and stuff like that. And I want you to know that this is the one game that I feel like if you're not doing that, you're not at the biggest disadvantage. Because a lot of this stuff in the multiplayer is not that crazy. Like, you can probably get away with it just kind of like running and then aiming, and then running and then aiming, and then running and... Wait, I'm sorry, I gotta see this. And then aiming. Like, it's not that bad, right? Now, by the way, the reason that I'm playing in this game is because once we get out, I'm gonna go into theater mode, and we're gonna talk about that. But I think this is the one game where movement isn't necessary. Like, it is not necessary if you're struggling. Now, in Warzone, it's probably going to be necessary once they start implementing things. In the Avalon mode, it's going to be necessary. But I don't think, if you're just playing regular multiplayer, like outside of this skirmish mode, I don't think you're going to struggle by any means. I think you're going to be completely fine. And I feel like with all these games that have had movement recently, I don't think I've been able to say that a single time. So it feels pretty good to know that, like, casual players are not at a huge disadvantage, especially those that don't have like this pro controller. So I'm obviously, you know, I think it'd be great if you guys went and got one, but at the end of the day, it's not going to be your death. At least not in Black Ops 7, which is pretty cool. I think they've done a great job on movement, and I'll have to give that to them. I think it's pretty, what do you call it? It's pretty balanced, right? So another thing is the new UI. One thing I really don't like about the UI personally, and this is just a peeve of mine, is that it's actually kind of crooked. So if you look at the corners, you can kind of see that it like curves, and I hate that. I actually don't know. If I go into interface, oh, sorry, I'm just gonna go straight down here, and we're just gonna sit for just a second. If I go into interface and we go to gameplay HUD, you can see it's got a scale, so you can make it larger. There's the HUD visibility. There's the HUD info visibility. I'm sorry, my nose is itching. I'm about to sneeze. Please hold. Yeah, I'm not seeing. Woo! Big sneeze, big sneeze. I think the UI is fine. I just don't like that it curves. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you look at that bottom right there, I'll even, I'll zoom to it. If you look at this, you can see that it's kind of at an angle, which to me, I think is a little goofy. But aside from that, I'm not really sure that there's any big issues. I mean, if the Warzone glitch where you're like scrubbing through weapons comes into this game, I'm not gonna be happy about that. But there's like, if you don't know, there's a glitch where when you're trying to grab weapons or you're trying to change your class, what will often happen is that you'll, a third guy. You'll end up swapping to a specific category weapon that you don't want. And I've not ran into that just yet, so I think it's completely fine. Now, I'm not saying that it's perfect. I think there's definitely going to be some things that over time like mess up or things that I've not noticed just yet. But overall, like, it looks fine. I can see what's going on. I think there's a... Now, hold on, actually. if I nade right there and then I back up. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at that bottom left, and there's this little graph above my health bar, and it basically indicates nothing. Like, there's no way to use that information. Oh man, we won. So now that we've won, we're gonna keep talking. I'm not gonna like cut or anything. I want to hop in and I want to show you some things that I actually do like about the game that I think they've changed in a good way. So obviously you saw me using quite a bit of you know, assault rifle there, but one thing I think is a little weird is actually the SMGs. They have a weird recoil pattern. It seems to just like be all messed up. So that's a little crazy. But when you go through these menus, which we're going to do right now, because we're talking about the UI and stuff, I can't back out for the live. Oh, can I? So when you go through these menus, I'll go ahead and pull out so I can show you. Leave lobby. You can see you kind of hop through. You can go through here. One thing I don't like is the way that it favorites the class. It doesn't put the class as number 1, right? So we're like kind of checking this out. It keeps the favorited class as number 2, but I'm working on the AK-27 here. You can see I've been kind of leveling up these guns. I've got the Peacekeeper leveled up all the way. We got the M15 mod leveled up all the way. I've only done the Dravek or Dravik. I don't know what it's called, but I've only done these weapons so far. And then I'll still have to go through and get all of these, but you can see I can go through the menu just fine. It's not getting locked on one of these like it does in Warzone, which is really nice. But I think there's still a couple of things that are a little weird. Now I gotta say this. So when I do my interface so that I can show it in videos, I actually change my size to larger. So this is what it's supposed to look like. So if you're looking at it, you're like, damn, that looks terrible. It's my fault, just to be clear. But the UI is completely fine. I think the weapons are really good. I think, again, and I talked about this in the video yesterday, the weapons that you see in this game, a lot of them are just throwbacks to old games. In fact, most of this game is just a throwback to some older title. There's things from Black Ops 1, there's things from Black Ops 2, there's things from Black Ops 3, there's things from Black Ops 4. There's things from literal like Modern Warfare games in this game. Like if you go through the weapon, you can see that this, I'm pretty sure is like a Honey Badger or like an M13 right here. You've got the AK-47, you got the Rampart, I'm trying to see, you've got the Peacekeeper, literally the Peacekeeper. You have the Raiden, which I can't remember the name of that, but that's in another game. We have the Razor, which is the Razor. We have the Carbon, which is a Cordite. The MPC, which is the MSC. There's shotguns. Those, like, it goes for every single category. In fact, this one is very clearly like Black Ops 4 snipers right here, like super crazy. And some Black Ops 3, like, we've got stuff from previous games, and it's really close, in my personal opinion, to Black Ops 2. I keep saying this over and over and over. It is as close as we're going to get to Black Ops 2. I'm not saying it's the same by any means, but I'm saying if you've been looking for that Black Ops 2 feeling, this is as close as we're going to get, and it's as close as we've ever gotten since Black Ops 2. Genuinely. I'm not saying it's perfect. Obviously, you have movement and stuff that you didn't have in the game, but when you go through and you look at things like where is it? Weapons, score streaks, you know, we've got similar score streaks to what we had in Black Ops 2. A lot of the maps are very similar to Black Ops 2, like the 3-lane type vibes. They're all 3-lane. Every single one of them. When you hop into multiplayer, it is all 3-lane. But one thing that I did love that they did is that they gave us some of the best camos I have truly ever seen. Now, I'm playing in 4K. These are going to look a little bit better for me than they do for you, but just looking at these camos, they're so high quality. And every time I've played another Call of Duty, aside from, I think, Cold War, they're usually like, there's some kind of texture bug with them. I don't know why, but the textures of them are usually like messed up. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of these like special camos suck. I don't like the snake skin stuff or the lizard stuff or whatever it is. But these, like the shattered gold, if I hop in and I check it out and I remove the UI, like this shattered gold looks great. Like this is really nice. The same goes for Moonstone and Chroma Flux. Like Chroma Flux, probably my favorite one in the entire game. We have Genesis, which comes from the co-op campaign. Moving into multiplayer, you've got, I'm sorry, it's Molten Gold for the co-op campaign. Moving into multiplayer, you've got Shattered Gold, you have Arc Light, you have Tempest, which I think is pretty cool, and you have Singularity. Zombies, you're getting the Golden Dragon, Bloodstone, Doom Steel, and Infestation. But even just looking at the regular camos, they're pretty good. Like they're not too bad. Now, you can also go to R2 and you can check out universal camos. So when you go into here, you can see some of these camos are literally from older games. So you have like the Art of War from Black Ops 2. You have so many of these are from Black Ops 2. They're literally from old games, and you get it from like prestiging your weapons, which means it does reset your, oh my God, does that say reach weapon prestige master level 250? What? What the hell? Hold on, I gotta, ridiculous. I got a little sniffle today. But then we have like the Dragon Camo, Paladin, Carbon Fiber, Bacon, Afterlife, Zombies, Pack-a-Punch, Aqua, Benjamins, Weaponized 115, Hellfire, Clay. Like, look at all of these freaking camos that they gave us. This is by far the most extensive list of camos in the longest grind of any game Call of Duty has ever released. It's not even close. If you want something to do, this is it. You can do this infinitely. So if you get a weapon that you find that has a pretty sick camo, you can just use that weapon for months to unlock one of these camos that I think goes, yeah, it says universal camo under my camera. I'll show you right here. It says equip to any weapon. So once you unlock this for one weapon, you can equip it to any weapon. So find the camo that you want, unlock that. Like, this is sick. The Shadow SK, that's nice. I love a black and white camo, especially with gold. You know, you can go through here and you have all this stuff. And I think whoever did this, they killed it. I mean, this is truly, like, this is crazy, dude. This is crazy. I actually love all of these camos. I've not even gone through this myself to check it out. I've checked out a few of them, but I didn't realize it went this far. The koi pollen? Oh my God. These are so good. I'm actually like super impressed. Camo wise, I mean, this has got to be one of the best, dude. It really is. This is so freaking cool. We also have other camos. So Coin Operator, defeat the payback in Dead Ops. So you got to hop into Dead Ops Arcade to get that. We've obviously got this camo that you get for buying Black Ops 7 or pre-ordering it. It was a pre-order bonus. Maybe it came with the $100 version. I'm not 100% sure, but it doesn't even show like the other 92, but I guess that's just unlocked is what I have. So then obviously you have skins, which I don't have any on this, but there's like other weapons that if I hop in, we'll see. I think I have, yeah. So you've got the Peacekeeper right here that has a skin, and I'll go in and I'll change the camo. Let me get rid of that. And let's hop into the firing range so I can show you this. By the way, firing range, not too bad, not too bad. But you can see, you know, we've got this gun. Not the greatest recoil pattern, I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty much the reason I've been playing hardcore, because you can see it just goes straight up for the most part. But I think it's pretty fine to hop in. And then let's check this out right here, right? Absolutely absurd. Now, I'm not a big fan of stuff like this. I know. A lot of people are like, yeah, it's a pretty cool inspect, dude. But like, this is a lot, bro. Like this feels like a whole lot of unnecessary crap. But aside from that, like, camos, pretty cool. I'm not a big fan of weapon prestiging. Like right here, I could prestige the weapon. So if I go in here and we go to, oh, sorry, options. How do you do it? How do you prestige? Is there a way to prestige here? How do I do that? Options? Wait, you can import a code. Yeah, you have to type it. So we'll get to that in just a second. Share weapon build. Oh, so what happens if I share the weapon build? So if I just share it, oh, that's cool. Now, if you're making a video like me, sorry, I'm just gonna take this off for a second. If you're making a video like me, I think it's incredibly stupid to watch someone's video and steal a share code. Because if you actually look at the share code here, look at this, the build code. That's a lot of letters. When I could be like, we have the 21-inch DF3 merge barrel, lateral precision, the Vulcan reach, the rapid lock grip, and the buffer spring. Instead, go ahead and type in A066WVQRTP51. Thank you so much. What? Why? That's a lot. Why am I typing in a code like that every single time? I thought it was going to be like 5, 6, maybe 7 letters, but I guess because they're expecting so many people to do that, they can't do it. Already, by the way, so many decals. Like, there's just so much customization in this game, and I'm very, very impressed on that side. They've given so many options, which I think is cool for creators, but for the sake of it, you know, you can go in and we've got, oh, import weapon. Oh, you can do it there too? That's cool. Oh, I haven't even seen the challenges, bro. Yeah, this is sick, dude. Can you track it? You can track it. So I can press triangle and it'll track the... Dude, this is... I'm telling you, this is what we've asked for years. For literal years, they have given us everything we wanted. The issue is it might be too late. Like, that's the irony, is that it might actually be too late. Because if I go in, you can see like all this. Let's go to R1. Oh, you got co-op campaign. Now, are there like regular... Oh, calling cards, career? So I've already done this. Boot camp. I've already gotten all of these. Yeah, there's so much customization wise. I think this is probably the best front they have. Like, this has been by far the best customization of any game that I've ever played ever within the Call of Duty franchise. I think they've done an incredible job. So obviously we saw like grappling hooks and stuff like that in Avalon, but for the sake of it, why don't we actually go into Avalon? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to showcase something that I don't think a lot of people know about. You can go into theater and you can hop into your gameplay right here where you can see that I got, you know, this on this map. And it's obviously a black screen right now, but what's going to happen is it's going to boot up in theater. So if you're trying to do this yourself, you're more than welcome. I'm not going to hold you back, but let's go ahead and pause it, right? And then you can see in the bottom right, we're in theater. So what I can do is I can press triangle to go in the third person, press triangle again to go free. And then this is Avalon. Now, what I like to do is I like to go straight up in the sky because I'm going to show you a nice look of it. We can go straight up in the sky and you can see how large Avalon truly is. So I'm going to kind of go this way. It's a little hard to handle. I'm probably giving you guys some like screen shake sickness or whatever, but I can go straight up and we can see truly how big this map is. Now there is quite a bit of water, which has me a little nervous. We're almost there. We are almost there. There it is. This is the whole map right here. So you can see that this is Avalon. You know, you've got this area down here. I think that's like the multiplayer map. From my understanding, what Avalon is truly is it's kind of a mixture of a bunch of old maps. And I did miss yesterday in my video, Hacienda is also in the map, but there's so many different areas in this that have been pulled from other games. And I think when this becomes like a blackout mode, what'll end up happening is that it'll be good because people know it. When you hop in and you play like Urzikstan, the reason that it wasn't good is there was nothing that had been a reused asset. People think that it's bad to reuse assets, but in reality, the COD community is wanting something that is familiar. That is the reason that COD does so well, is because they nostalgia bait everyone. When Call of Duty drops things that's nostalgic, people play it. That's literally how it works every single time. But you can hop into this theater mode and you can check out the outer edges of the map. And there's a few of these, by the way. I've done this in multiple different maps. It does the same thing on Express, where you can find like a whole city outside of it. And it's really cool to hop into theater mode to see this. But I will let you know, if you go down here, what you'll see is that the trees load in really clear, but when you look at the buildings, they're still like, oh my God, very low poly. So you can see that they stay like super low. But I mean, if you're a creator and you're trying to get a nice little screenshot, like it's not bad. It's not bad. It's really not. Like, look, you can see that the roads, like the texture of the roads, the trees, but then I get to the walls and I'm like falling through the ground. And then we got the rock loads in, but the building doesn't. I don't know why they do that. It doesn't really make a ton of sense to me because I don't create games for a living, but I think this is really freaking cool. So if you're trying to learn the map and you do have Black Ops 7, of course you can hop into skirmish, you can play this, or you can go to the end of the game. But if you want to just get an overview of it, I wish I would have known that this was an option before. Now, by the way, I think, if I'm not wrong, Hacienda was like over here. Maybe I'm crazy. He was at the winery. Somewhere over this direction is Hacienda. That's what I was told. I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. So this is Hacienda right here that I missed in my video yesterday. So you can see you kind of like start here, you go through the building. So everything's going to feel very familiar, which I think is incredible. So if you're really striving for that, I highly recommend, you do try it out. Now, I'm not saying that you should buy Black Ops 7. Not just yet. Let's get to the end of this video and let's see how I really feel. But I just wanted to show that to you because I thought it'd be pretty cool that you can actually hop in and you can get all these cool shots and you can kind of see what you're going to dive into later. And they've added in this theater mode. It seems to work really, really well. I've not really had any huge issues with it. I helped Burger get a thumbnail yesterday inside of theater mode, actually, because I wanted to showcase that to him. But let's go ahead and I'll show you. Let's go ahead and dive into a hardcore domination. I'll change my class for the sake of it. There it is, AK-27. This is what I've been using. This is kind of my class setup right now. So if you're trying to steal something, this is what I would recommend. I just feel like it works better than a lot of other things. If you really want, what you can do is like, gung-ho is pretty important, but if you need it, Ghost. If you're just going to stand still, but I found that gung-ho is pretty important, especially for someone like myself that runs and guns a little bit more. Since I'm playing domination, I like to use this echo unit, which is great because you can actually toss it on a flag and grab these flags, which is super freaking cool. So diving in here, I will talk about a couple of other things. I'm going to showcase kind of how these work. Oh, is that Phase Dirty? Is that Phase Dirty? The only? I bet it is, bro. I bet it is. Crazy. Anyway, we're gonna dive in here. I'm telling you, I'm getting into these lobbies that are like super high tier players. Like I've got Dirty in my lobby that's Prestige 1 already. It's day 1, by the way. Prestige 1, he's level 38. Like it's just absurd with these lobbies that they're giving me. It feels like skill-based matchmaking is like at its peak. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I'm probably gonna get slammed when we hop in here. But one thing I noticed over on Twitter is I was just looking around, seeing how people feel about the game, and I saw that Doug Dag Nabbit tweeted something out about the co-op campaign. And the issue with it being a co-op campaign and having cross progression and stuff like that is the only way that they can keep it from like being bugged is that they keep it online all the time. That's kind of the issue with this cross progression, is that you're forced to play online all the time. So if you don't have an internet connection, guess what? You literally cannot play the campaign. It's insane to me. I actually cannot believe that. And what'll end up happening is when they push an update, you'll literally get kicked out of the game. No matter where you're at in the game, you'll literally get kicked out. It is absurd. It's not fun. It's not cool. I don't think it's good by any means. Let's nade that. Oh, that guy was close. But I don't think it's a good thing. And the same thing goes for zombies. When they push an update, you're going to get kicked out of the game. And no one wants to deal with that because stuff like that is always online. Now, one thing I do think is cool is that they brought back Dead Ops Arcade. I know a lot of people like that. I know the community that loves zombies does love Dead Ops Arcade. It's just an extra little thing that you can play, which I think fan service like that is so freaking good, bro. I think whenever they do things like that, it's very important, but it is what it is. Going back to the topic of kind of always online, one thing that I know a lot of people are concerned about is cheating in the game. And I've hopped in and I've played, I don't know, probably 100 matches of multiplayer at this point, something like that. And one, as you can see, I'll show you, I'm level 52, right? Level 52, I've maxed out 3 weapons, and I've gone on quite a few kill streaks. I've done pretty well for myself. What I've been doing is I've been popping 15 minutes of double XP and stuff to make sure that, you know, if I'm gonna hop off, I can hop off. But I'll probably switch it whenever I have time dedicated to go to like 30 minutes. I do love that they did, again, fan service is bringing over those double weapon XPs and those double XPs into the new matches or into the new games so that you can use it in your matches. Now, I do wish that they'd force it to be only in-game XP. I don't know why we're not using that just yet. I'm tired of being in the lobby and using my double weapon XP. I think it's actually absurd that that's a thing. In 2025, they're still doing bullshit like that. But I do love that they brought it over from the last game. So, you know, you got that cross progression there as well, which is fine with me. Dirty's about to slam us, by the way. He's just camped up, dude. It's insane, but it makes sense. Like I said, that's our guy right there. In fact, I wonder if I go to player details. View party. Dirty at, I'm gonna, oh man, I'm trying to, oh, I'm not trying to mute him. Hold on. What is happening? It won't let me go to player detail. All right, whatever. Player details, send friend request. We're gonna be buds. I'm gonna send him a friend request. But kind of on the topic of, you know, the online stuff, cheating has been a big conversation. I've played quite a few games, and I gotta be honest, dude, I've not ran into a single cheater. I've seen some sus shit, but I've not ran into a cheater. But the issue is I think a lot of it comes down to kind of your play style. I think it comes down to what you're expecting to see whenever you're hopping in, whether or not you understand how kill cams work, things like that. And I haven't just played hardcore dom. I've played this a lot because it's my chosen game mode. but I've had really no issues with people oh, that was great. People cheating. I've seen 0 cheaters the entire time I've been playing. Now, obviously, you're gonna get spawn trapped. You're playing multiplayer, stuff like that. I don't really love multiplayer, and to be honest, I'm not paying attention right now. I'm just shooting people and stuff like that. I'm just in the game. That's why I'm 9 and 15. Also, I'm playing against, like, a professional player, so, you know, it is what it is. But cheating, in my opinion, has not been an issue. Now, I do think, for those of you that are playing on PC, I understand that enabling TPM may be a bit of a struggle. I've heard that that's been a problem. Some people have boards, like motherboards, that don't actually work with it. That's crazy. And to that I say, I don't know what to tell you. It has to do with the motherboard, and they physically have to ensure that they can actually keep cheaters off the game. So we're kind of to a point right now where you either deal with the fact that some people aren't going to be able to play, which I think they're going to do next year as well. There's going to be one more guy. Oh, wow. I'm shocked. So you either deal with the fact that Call of Duty is going to lose some players because they can't activate it because the motherboard is, like, providers don't actually support TPM, or you just allow cheaters to run free. And I think we're to the point to where we just have to accept it, because if Battlefield can do it, I'm pretty sure that Call of Duty can do the same thing. I don't know why Call of Duty keeps getting the bad rep whenever Battlefield literally does the same exact shit. It makes no sense to me. I know that people like to bandwagon Battlefield and like to bandwagon hate on Call of Duty, but looking at it from a standpoint of literally it's doing the same thing. Look at it objectively. They're doing the same thing. I never understand like just pushing hate on Call of Duty for no reason. I think it makes sense to critique a game whenever they're the ones that are doing something bad. But in reality, if they're just doing something to protect their player base, just stop bitching, bro. It doesn't make sense to me that people can't look at things objectively. I mean, I get that there's a lot of emotion that comes into your pastime, but like, dude, it's just so goofy, you know? Damn, slammed. So that's one of those things, and like, I don't know, man. I just don't think it's as big of a deal as people like to make it out. You know, like, if you're playing on PlayStation or you're playing on Xbox, this does not affect you, right? But you want to know that there's going to be less cheaters in the game at the end of the day, right? Like, that's your goal. You don't want to fight against cheaters. You want to just constantly hop in and have a good time. But the issue is our brains have been tainted to believe that every player is a cheater. And let me tell you, I have ran into this where literally I've got a guy in my lobby earlier today and he was like, well, F it, I'm just going to download cheats. And I'm like, brother, are we for real? Like, it's your first, he's literally level 2. He's like, bro, it's my first game and these guys are cheating already? Shit, I'm gonna download cheats. And I'm like, what? My man, no one's cheating. You're just getting pissed on. And so I think it's clearly just a community issue. Like, the COD community has gotten to the point where they just think everybody's cheating. And I'm not saying the cheating problem isn't bad. Like, I'm one to call out the cheating problem pretty often, I feel like. And so I'll call it out. I'm happy to make videos on it. I'm happy to, you know, be honest and upfront with you guys about my feelings about the situation at hand. But at the end of the day, I also know that it's important to stay on topic when you're trying to activate some kind of change. So if you're to say, all right, this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem. 2 of those aren't a problem, but they seem like a big priority to a company like Activision, so they're going to put some focus on that. It's taking away from the problem at hand. So what I like to do is I try and figure out if something's real or if it's not real. Because if I'm wasting the time of Activision and the people there that are improving the game, if I take away that time from them improving the game to focus on shit that's not actually happening, it's making the game worse. So that's why I think it's incredibly dumb to just like bullshit and be like, this is cheating, this is cheating, this is cheating. Like, I want to see things that actually seem like cheating, you know? I want to make sure that when I call out Call of Duty for fucking up, that I'm calling them out for the right stuff, you know? And that's why, while it seemed like sometimes I might be a shill, I just don't believe in calling out stuff that just doesn't matter at the end of the day. Now, I'm not saying it shouldn't be a priority at some point, but whenever there's things that need priority and they lose priority because we're talking about dumb stuff and they're having to actually be like, all right, well, we have to talk about this. Otherwise people aren't going to shut up. It's just not good. It's just not good. Now let me double check. I think we've hit most of the stuff that I want to talk about for the most part. I don't really play zombies, so I can't really like talk on whether or not it's good. I've heard that it's good. In fact, I had a guy hop in my comments from the video yesterday and he literally said the only thing good about this game is zombies. So from somebody that enjoys multiplayer on this game compared to past games, maybe the zombies actually pretty baller. I don't know. I mean, I hear they're supposed to drop some classic modes and stuff like that. I don't know how true that is, but they're probably going to do that at some point. I heard that it was going to be like after people figure out an Easter egg, which sounds like the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. But whatever, if that's what they're going to do, that's what they're going to do. I think the community's like working on the Easter egg right now so that they can get those classic modes unlocked. But zombies isn't one of the things that I truly care about, so I'm not really going to stress that. But aside from that, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say, like, the game's good. It's probably the better or the best Call of Duty we've had in years. That's what I'll say. I'm not saying it should bring you back. If you're having a blast on Battlefield 6, do not feel the need to purchase this game if you don't want to spend time on it. Obviously, I feel a specific kind of way about skill-based matchmaking. I'm 32 and 30. You know, we've got the rest of my team is going absurdly negative. I'm the only person on my team doing anything. I'm the only person on my team that got even one UAV. So I think teams are getting a little screwed here. It's all a little weird, but aside from that, my overarching point here is that if you want to play Call of Duty, this is a good Call of Duty. If you don't want to play Call of Duty, or if you've come to not enjoy Call of Duty over the last few years, don't play it. Don't buy it. There's no reason to. I think it's incredibly stupid to be like, well, I'm going to buy this even though I know I hate the game. Don't do it. No one is forcing you to spend $60, $70, $100. No one's telling you got to do that. Don't do it. It's not that hard. Like, either way, guys, I mean, Warzone drops free to play with 2 new POIs on December 4th. I believe in like March or April, we're going to see the Avalon map drop. So if you want to wait it out, play a little bit more like Battlefield 6, more power to you, dude. Absolutely. Absolutely. But either way, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that was a decently formed opinion. I know that I probably could have like lined them up and been like, this is this section, this is this section. But sometimes I feel like it's important to just yap to you guys like a human, you know? Like if I just set this up and I'm like all prim and proper, I don't know. It's just doesn't feel human. So sometimes I like to do it this way, but either way, you know, the map's decent, the voting decent. That's it, dude. That's all I got. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And I hope you have a great remainder of your day. Subscribe to the channel.